Hey, what's up, guys? And I just want to say it's been a ride, guys. Thank you for all of those who view, stick around, and enjoy. But as you already know, don't be sad or anything, guys, because new what are coming up for you guys to enjoy soon enough. So just sit back, relax, and yeah, enjoy. I even post a brand new series over in the making of What If Naruto Awaken Godly Red Lightning, so go ahead and check out that and enjoy, guys. And also, over in the making too, I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto was recreated by the Shinigami, so go ahead and check out that and enjoy. And also, guys, remember to turn on that bell notification to see exactly when I post. So without further ado, what is we leap right its new episode. Well, final episode to be exact, guys. Let's begin the intro. So the last spot we left off, we came across Naruto facing off against Yagura, a deal that Konoha made with Kiri rebels to end the civil war once and for all. In doing so, once Kiri was back on their feet, they will be allies with Konoha. As both parties agreed, as their main leadership was Meiterume and Minato accept this proposal, as Naruto and a few others were sent there as well. But Naruto was enough, but it was just precautions anyway. As the man was facing off against Yagura while the rest of the forces were holding back the others, Yagura tried his best to put Naruto down, but it didn't matter what he tried, he was just not strong enough. As Naruto did not kill him though, he will allow the people of here to decide. He spoke to Aizubi and told him that he could give him away for his freedom to be visual to him, but he would still have to be confined, but he wouldn't feel it, he wouldn't feel anything of confinement, as long as he was with him. After thinking about his options and knowing that if he got captured once again, he wouldn't like it, Aizubi decided to agree, as Naruto absorbed him, giving Aizubi a sense of peace. So with that, Mei and the others arrive. As they saw Naruto finish with Yagura, once again, Mei was alarmed by just truly how powerful he was. It was a real good initiative for them to sign with Konoha. After all, this child has become one of the strongest ninjas in the Elemental Nation. Sometime later, Naruto returned back, as due to the peace that they signed with the other villages, the girls had moved to Konoha, Kumo being Yujito, the San being Temari. At first it was complicated being here, being with the person that killed her brother. Her other brother had taken the title as Kazekage, Conqueror. He was being groomed from the moment Gaara was killed, and he had took the title as Kazekage. But this was something that she had to do for her village. But as the time went by, surprisingly she came to actually like Menma a lot. And the both of them started to really show feelings for one another, not just because of the political marriage. As for Naruto and Yujito, well, from day one, she had something for him, and Naruto found her interesting. So they got along rather quickly, and with the years pass, they got to become more than just friends, starting out from dating to go into a full-blown relationship, as they were coming to enjoy their relationship that was taking a hand at the moment. So with that, they were currently in Leaf, and they were up to something. It took Kushina a while to get along with the girls, but seeing that they meant no harm to two of her boys, she came to love them as they were part of the family. Kushina and Minato also have another kid as well, a daughter, a little baby sister that they love so much. But that was not the big issue at the moment. The Akatsuki was making their grand move, but not just the Akatsuki. With the death of Orochimaru, Kabuto has taken his place as the main source who was contacted by, well, it was a mutual contactment by Obito, who wanted to bring down Konoha because Naruto was the one that possessed all of the tail beasts at the moment. He had too much power, so they need to take him down and get those tail beasts, otherwise all of the Akatsuki plan will be for naught. So they will strike very soon. Soon came rather quicker than expected as they really attacked Konoha. Right in the smack dab of the village, they launch a full-blown assault, creating chaos and panic all over the Hidden Leaf. As Naruto and the others came out, Pain tried to decimate the village with an almighty push, but Naruto repelled said force, stopping it in its tracks. But a huge chunk of the village was destroyed. When they arrived on the scene, Naruto was pissed off. He was furious as he saw the destruction and the dead bodies of the Konoha shinobi. But that was not the only problem. Coffins started to rise from the ground. Coffins that were being summoned by the Inotensu that belonged to none other than Kabuto Yakushi, the new 2.0 Orochimaru, if you would call him that. So with that, they had to deal with two problems now. The Akatsuki fighting force and now the reanimations, as Konoha was being hit from all sides. But they had just awakened as sleeping beasts as Naruto was gonna grind them all into dust, he promised. So yeah guys, that's basically what I thought you guys can. Switch across the place, check out yourself, and yeah. What do you say we just launch ourselves right into the new episode? We begin this episode with Akira, Otsutsuki, stepping into the chambers. She was a bit nervous, but she didn't let it show one bit on her face. All the people in the room were higher than her, in terms of position and also power as well. The one that she hated the most was Momoshiki, and Ozo as well. They were both in there. I was summoned, she said. Yes, Ozo said as he turned towards her, that usual grin on his face. It took me a while, but as I said, I came through with what I was doing. I found the abomination. I know exactly where death is located at the moment. Ozo looked to see if there was any trace amount of flicker or emotions on her face, but there was none. She hid it rather well. Why was I summoned, she asked. That is quite simple, said Momoshiki. You will be coming with us. Why, she said. Are you questioning me, he said. His tone showing that arrogance and superiority that most of the others had, just because they were more powerful. That is how the hierarchy of power was after all. No, I'm merely curious why my presence would be needed for something like this. You will be a big part of containing death. Do you understand, he said, a tone of finality when he spoke. She nodded her head as she glanced over to see Yoroshiki as he was leaning up against the wall. Recently she heard that he left planet, but now he was back. Did that mean he was the one that found him? She still had no idea how they were able to track him down. Damn it. Ozo should have died. If he had been taken out of the equation, he would have been fine. She cursed herself, but she didn't let that show on her face one bit. Well then, I guess we should get ready to depart, said Ozo, as there was a mad twinkle in the man's eyes. In fact, he was not planning on killing Death one bit. He was gonna use him. He had other plans for him after all. It was about damn time that he gets some respect around here. Meanwhile, at the Elemental Nation, the Hidden Leaf village was currently in chaos because of the fighting going on everywhere. The civilians had been evacuated towards safety. The fighting had been centered in the dead center of the village. The fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze, was gripping onto his two Hiroshin kunais as he launched them. They whipped through the air. As Tendo, the body of Yaigo, stepped forward and raised his hand. Almighty, push! The gravitational wave exploded back on the kunais, knocking them away. But Minato was already gone in a flash. The eyes of the Pats looked around as they tried to locate the man. That is when the summoning Pat noticed a kunai hurling towards him. The man jumped up head on to face it, hoping that the fourth Hokage would appear. But the kunai whipped past him and nothing happened. It was then that Minato appeared, just a few feet behind the human path, who turned in surprise, not even noticing the marking seal on the ground. A Rasengan already formed in his hand. The human path tried to block, but the Rasengan grind right into his chest, tearing apart his body and throwing him away. Minato had to move instantly as rockets came crashing down where he stood. The robot path looked towards all the smoke that he caused, only for him having to leap away as Guy came bulldozing in the area. His feet made contact and decimate the ground. As the Konoha shinobis started to spread amongst themselves, the eyes of the pains all survey around. The battle might look bleak with just the Akatsuki, but it was not just the Akatsuki, was it? The coffins around start to rise up out of the ground. Upon rising, the members start to exit. Several promising members that were known for their power and their skills throughout time. Members such as Hanzo of the Salamander, the third Raikage, the second Tishikage Miu, even the third Mizukage. This was bad. That is what would have been said if the ninjas within Konoha weren't confident of their skills. At the moment though, Yujito, her body was cloaked in a blue flame, her eyes focusing on the hundreds of puppets surrounding her. Flashing through hand sign. Fierily she said, "Hellcat swarm!" She slammed both hands on the ground. The fire from her palm seemed to compress before it shot out in all different directions. The body of puppets started to fall one after another as they were being blown apart. Over to the side, Kisame had a grin on his face despite the situation that he was facing at the moment. The two Sharingan users' eyes blazing at him. As both brother and sister move, Sasuke Uchiha and Remy Uchiha, the both of them moving in perfect sync. Blades clashing against Samehata. Kisame was grinning like a madman as he was actually enjoying himself a lot. Over to the side, Itachi Uchiha, Kakashi Hatake were currently clashing against the zombie duos. Sparks fly as kunai met, 3 from sight. As Itachi had his blade facing off against Kakazu. Kakazu had a smirk on his face though. There was a rather sizable bounty on the head of Itachi Uchiha, and he was gonna collect afterwards. His body was enhanced by a stone release as he clashed against the blade like it was nothing. Up in mid-air, Deidara was smirking to himself as he kept on releasing bombs over the village. It was then that something stabbed in his bird wing, causing him to take a dive. He had to twist in mid-air as a chain whipped past him, forcing him to leap away. That is when he felt danger behind him as he leaped. The moment his feet touched the ground, dodging a gentle fist attack that would have blown out his back. As both Mito and Hinata stood side by side one another. As Deidara simply smirked. "Well, ladies," he said. "Do you know what true art is?" he asked. They didn't say anything, but they raised an eyebrow towards his statement. "It seems like you all don't know yet, but let me enlighten you that true art is an explosion," he said, as he held out his hands, causing the mouth in his hands to spew out a strange glob of liquid as it formed strange humanoid statures. Mito looked towards Hinata as the both of them nod their head before they move off. Thus like that, the rest of the forces were clashing over the village against these invaders. The civilians being taken to the bunkers, the children being protected. As for the one that they came for himself, he stood in the midst, surrounded by several foes. His brother at his side, Naruto and Menma stood side to side as they looked towards the reanimations. Their eyes were not giving away anything. It was like they were dead. "This jutsu," said Menma, "is the same one like what Orochimaru used all those years ago." "The reanimation," said Naruto. "They're being controlled. Please tell me you have a way of breaking this jutsu," said Menma. "Because without that, they can't be defeated. The reanimation, they just keep on fixing their wounds." Naruto held his hand out. You don't have to worry about that, he said. Just try not to get killed. Knock them down and I'll do the rest. Well then, I can do that, said Menma as he went through hand sign rather quickly. He then slammed his hand down. Fuinjutsu, Spear of Absolute, he said. Upon saying that, a marking spread from his palm that surrounded all of them in a massive dome sort structure. It was large, as it trapped all of them inside. Markings all over the barrier that seemed to contain them, but the reanimations did not pay them any mind. They were here for one person only. As Naruto looked into the eyes of the second Tishikage knew, he could feel the energy source behind it. As he turned his head, his eyes glowing as he tracked the source. But there was another one as well, connected to the Rinnegan, two of them. Found you, he said. Menma, I know who's controlling them, not to mention the one that is behind the sixth path of the Rinnegans. As Naruto slammed both of his hands together, his body started to release a bright, golden glow before it split apart, revealing 3 Naruto. You're putting yourself at a disadvantage here, Menma said. Yes, it does split my power, but it should be enough. I'm not going there to speak with them. As Menma nodded at that, he knew this technique all too well that Naruto had created. It wasn't like a shadow clone, he was able to literally split his power. It was like a physical replication of yourself. Unlike a clone that would poof away, the other copy would not poof away. It can literally die. If the original died, the one that remained behind would take his place. It wasn't like he was a copy or anything, it was him. His body was just literally split. So far, Naruto has been the only one that been able to perform this technique. The others, not having enough life force and density to perform it, they would end up just burning themselves out before even creating one. But Naruto was able to create 2 of them, splitting his life force into 3 different sections. 3 different copies of himself. As Menma looked towards the barrier and walked over, he was about to open it up until the third Raikage moved, his finger coming in like a drill. As he whipped through the air with it, he was fast, like intensely fast. Only for a massive fox head to arrive and bite down on the man. It then threw him side from side and threw him away. As Menma appeared right above the man, a giant Rasengan in his hand. After Naruto had released the power of the 9 tails on the head, Menma proceeded to drive the Rasengan down into him. The ground buckled and exploded from the weight, as it caused a rather massive explosion. One of the copies appeared of Naruto as he slammed his hands on the Raikage, as he tore out his soul. Menma rushed towards the bar as he opened it up. The moment he did, 2 of the copies of Naruto vanished, moving with extraordinary speeds as they were just gone. As Menma turned as he heard the explosion, he was worried about his baby sister, his mother, his entire family, his entire village, as he really hoped that Naruto would hurry up. But now they had problems here with these reanimations, as Hanzo the salamander started to release an obnoxious gas. Menma quickly proceeded to summon 2 clones, as the both of them started to draw in natural energy. There was no point of holding back. He had to hit them hard so his brother could rip them apart and end this facade once and for all. Meanwhile, a scream of pain could be heard as Sasuke Uchiha was thrown and crashed hard. Remi's eyes went wide. Sasuke, she yelled out. Kisame had a rather deep gash across his Akatsuki cloak, but he was quickly healing. Serves the brat right, he thought to himself. As he stood there, Remi rushed over. Her eyes went wide in shock. The front part of Sasuke's chest was completely shredded off. Her hands shook as she didn't even know where to stop the bleeding. Blood was spewing out from everywhere as she trembled. Well, the brat was just asking for it, said Kisame as he stepped forward. Someone like that should know his place when he's dealing with his better. As with that, Kisame walked forward. And you're next, girlie. That is if you don't run away. As he raised Samiha to heal his wounds. As Sasuke's eyes were diluted, His eyes couldn't even pay attention to his sister. Remy was petrified in shock, not knowing what to do. His entire chest cavity was sliced out, shredded by that blade from that monster. As her anger started to get the better of her, as Sasuke gargled, before his eyes went dim. No, Sasuke. Sasuke, she yelled. As she checked his pulse, as she didn't even know if she could move him with the amount of blood spewing out. But there was nothing, she felt nothing. This is how the world works. Besides, did you think we came here to play? Said Kisame. It seems like you won't be a good battle anymore. After all, you're about to get hysterical. Hearing that, Remy's eyes snapped towards him. What Kisame saw surprised him though. Instead of the normal Sharingan there, was a 4-petal in her eye. It was like a petal of a leaf, 4 of them to be exact, in each of her eyes. The word popped in her mind almost instantaneously. Amaterasu! Black flames exploded outwards. Over to the side, Itachi came to a stop as he felt something off. It was then that he glanced over, as his eyes caught sight of the black flames. With that, his eyes went widen. Wind style. Decapitating ear pressure. Itachi leaped away, as the attack from Kakazu decimated the area. In his jump, his eyes switched to the Mangita Sharingan. Seeing those black flames could only mean one thing. As Itachi face set into a rage, as he thought about his younger brother and sister, as chaos reigned all over the hidden leaf. Meanwhile that was going on, Kabuto had no idea what happened, what Naruto did. As if a few clones could actually help this endeavor. The attack was going much better than he thought. The masked man had fled some time ago, as he had no idea where he went. But Kabuto was after a much bigger goal. This was just the first part. Think of it as the preliminaries. That is when he felt the place shaking as he paused. Taking his eyes off his chessboard, he wondered what the hell was that. The place continued to shake rather violently, terribly. It was only because of his enhanced senses and the way his body is right now that he moved. As a bolt of lightning arced through the air, it shredded through the stone platform and decimated his board. The place was dust and debris for a long while until it started to clear away. He was surprised who was standing there. You. But how? How did you find me? He said, surprised. As Naruto saw the face. You're the one doing this. Well, it surely has been a long while, Naruto-kun. Don't speak to me like we're familiar, said Naruto. You're attacking my home, trying to kill my people, and for that you will die. Kabuto merely chuckled. I'm afraid to burst your bubbles, but this is not like the past where you had the upper hand in almost everything. You might be all powerful, but I know for a certain that you are not the real Naruto. Sending a copy of yourself here was rather stupid. A clone cannot face me, because I am not a mere human child. As Kabuto ripped off the cloak, I've ascended into a dragon. And that's where you're wrong. I'm no clone, and even at 1/3 of my power, you are still nothing compared to me. I didn't come here to talk or waste time. I just came here to kill you. As golden energy started to whip off Naruto's body, the place started to shake violently as Naruto pushed and pulled that energy into something dense. A long spear that he gripped out at mid-air. He twirled around before he threw it. Kabuto had to move, but to his surprise the spear stuck in mid-air and turned and stabbed through his leg. He cried out in pain as he watched, thinking that Naruto let his guard down. But he quickly shed that skin of his and rushed towards Naruto. He quickly opened his chest open, as a head seemed to emerge, with a mouth and playing a flute. A rather loud piercing song. But Naruto raised his hand as a colossal amount of chakra started to create into a small beam like a Bichu bomb. The practical part. Kabuto realized that his sound had no effect. He decided to move back. But Naruto launched the attack and everything went white. The whole area cave was decimated. Meanwhile, Nagato wasn't having such a wonderful day. Konoha was proving to be much more resilient than he thought. He's already down 2 paths, his summoning path and his human path. So far he had no idea where the rest of the Akatsuki and how they were doing. Konan was at his side as usual, as she didn't want to leave his real body just in case. That is when Konan felt something, as Nagato's eyes were closed. Stepping out of the paper tree that she was in, she couldn't help but widen her eyes in shock. How did he find them? As Naruto's eyes were dead set on her. She quickly raised her hand as paper shot towards him with explosive notes. As Naruto opened his mouth and yelled, a colossal sound wave came from his mouth, channeled by his power. The sound wave blew away every sheet of paper that came towards him. As it was not a normal yell, the sound wave seemed to just rip and shred apart the area. The trees around were decimated and they fell rather easily. Nagato was snapped from his communication with his paths. As he looked up, the tree had been decimated. Konan was lying on the ground as she was slowly picking herself up. His eyes came face to face as Naruto landed, his feet touching the ground rather softly. As he walked, "I warned you," said Naruto. Each step that he took, it seems, more power he was pushing out. "I warned you time and time again that this wouldn't end well for you. I told you to leave, yet you step into my village, try to kill my friends, my family. Now, no more talking." He raised his hand and so did Nagato. 2 opposing forces came out from each of them. The force clashed in the center and the effects were catastrophic. The both of them unwilling to let down their guard on their power, as it seemed to affect their surroundings. The sky, the winds hurl. The ground cracked, the place was being torn apart from the 2 colliding forces. Nagato's eyes went wide when he felt it, as he started to lose the grip. His mechanical walker starts to dig into the ground and break. The force being too much, he had no choice as he summoned his paths to come to his aid. He cannot fight him like this. Meanwhile, with Kabuto, he had no choice, so he stepped away. "I was saving this for something more grand, but I guess I will need it here," Kabuto said. As they were now out in the open, the entire cave had been destroyed. "Edo Tensei," he said. Upon doing so, a coffin rose. Before the lid could open, though, it was blasted off. "What is this?" a rather dominating voice said. "This was not the plan that we agreed to." "What is going on?" "I'm afraid that was my doing," said Kabuto. "And who are you?" "I'm partner with your masked friend, but he's not here at the moment. However, we're in the process of collecting the tail pieces." The man stepped out of the coffin, showing it to be the legendary Uchiha, Madara Uchiha. As Naruto noticed the face, but he really didn't give a damn. He thrust forward. Madara turned as both of their fists connected, creating a small shockwave. Madara's eyes started to light up in glee. The moment he woke up, he found someone to dance with. Now this was interesting. The attack started simultaneously, as neither of them talked. Madara was smiling as they clashed, feet and hand decimating the area. The legendary Uchiha lived up to his name as he showed his mighty force. Back at Konoha, they're trying to flee, said Guy, his body cloaked up into the 6 gates. As he watched the remaining paths try to flee, the Rocket One using explosives to cover their escape. But Minato wasn't going to allow that, not after what they did to his village. Pursuit. As they made their way to stop them, well, out of the village. This will be good to cause less damage to the village. They were going to fight them outside. But something was going on as Minato heard the explosions in the far distance, as he just hoped everyone was alright. Meanwhile, Samehata was the only thing remaining. Kisame's body was nothing but a pile of ashes. Remi, on the other hand, she was on the ground unconscious. After expending her chakra, she just kept on blasting him with black flames after black flames. as she wanted to see the man burn to death before she fell, and thus she ended up exhausting her chakra, this being the first time awakening the monkey to Sharingan. When Itachi arrived on the scene after dealing with his foe, he found his younger brother. His chest was hacked out, and he was not breathing. As he moved toward his sister, she was alive but unconscious. As tears gathered in my eyes, but he fought them back. This was not the time to mourn. They were still in the midst of a battle. Meanwhile, Minma was exhausted. There was only 2 reanimations left. At the moment, their heads were being crushed into the ground. They managed to take down all of them as Naruto tore their souls out. As Minma dropped to both of his knees. Having his sage mode had run out a long time ago. He was exhausted, but they were done. It's done, said Naruto. What about the other you? What's going on with the other opponents? Asked Minma. They will need my energy. I must go. They're in the process of fighting. With that, his body burst before it spread into 2 different directions, chakra rushing towards each of one of his other halves. Meanwhile, Konoha found herself unable to really do much as the attacks that were being thrown were leveling the entire area. They were lucky that they were not in the midst of the village anymore, otherwise the village would have been brought down to its knees. Just in time the pats had arrived, but things were bad because suddenly Naruto was hit by this strange chakra that just seemed to swallow him. He then proceeded to bring out the 4 and 5 tails. Nagato had his strengths when dealing with tail beasts, but not by the way they were fighting, and not to mention, their body was not normal. He could not absorb them or use his Rinnegan to bear his will upon them. Something was wrong. These were not normal. Konoha had to fly straight up in air with the body of Nagato as 2 tail beasts ball threatened to decimate the entire area as Naruto was caught up in the blast. Why would he just stand there? Konoha wondered. That is when she felt it above. The sky was blacked out. She was unable to really see much. No, the sky wasn't blacked out. As Naruto stood in the midst of the heavens, electricity was coming down and striking his body, but yet it was not affecting him. But he was gathering that electricity in a bright ball that seemed to turn almost dark, eclipsing everything. A large shadow cast over the nation itself. The few paths that remained, including Tendo, eyes went wide as Nagato was brought away by Konoha. Shock, despair, fear ran through their very beings. As Naruto's eyes were pulsing, the gold in his eyes seemed to be almost leaking down his cheek. All of that consumed electricity, not to mention his own power, were being gathered into a small ball. It was so powerful that it was starting to distort the air. Time and space seemed to be almost rippling at the very thought, the very glimpse of that power that he was gathering. That was not natural at all. Tendo raised his hand as Nagato sent almost all of his remaining energy into the path down there, causing the others to even drop to the ground because he needed it. Now you die, said Naruto as he launched his technique. The mass of it and the wideness was too much as Tendo raised his hand. The power in his eyes just seemed to revolve around his hands. Almighty. Push! If this would have been aimed towards the earth, it would have decimated Konoha to the amount of energy he used. Nagato coughed up blood as he slammed his hand together, pushing his chakra. But the technique shredded through the force, something that wasn't supposed to be possible. When it finally made contact though, the bodies were gone in a blink. The Konoha ninjas had to stop. Minato grabbed the few ninjas that were with him and flashed away because the onslaught that came with that attack, the aftermath was so devastating that it shook the entire coast of the Fire Nation and beyond. When the smoke cleared away, only thing that was left was a massive crater. Rain was pouring afterwards. The very atmosphere had been changed. As Naruto slumped down, as he was breathing a bit heavier than before. He was not in full self after all, but still. As he absorbed the tailed beasts off into the distance, that took most of the shockwave, so the village would be safe. He felt some of his power returning back to him. He then looked down towards. He shot out of the air, moving with such speeds. Konoha turned, but her body was thrown. When she finally regained her senses, she saw Naruto in the process of gripping Nagato's neck. He said a few words, but she didn't hear. "Nagato!" she cried out as Naruto ripped his eyes cleanly out of his socket before he squeezed and snapped. Konoha felt her entire world shattered as she watched her longtime best friend fall. She rushed to catch his body as he dropped right in her arms. But Naruto did not care as he created a tail beast bomb before he launched it. Konoha looked up, but there was nothing for her to live for now. Nagato was dead. The Akatsuki had most likely failed. If she even survived this, what would she be, a prisoner? It's better that her thoughts were cut off as she was enveloped in the explosion. As Naruto dropped down to the ground, standing on his feet, he looked toward the two eyeballs in his hand. He was never able to bring back life or heal people because they wanted to know that he was a monster that was just fit for destruction. They want him to think of himself as death. That was the name that they gave to him, so they never gave him that ability. But he knew all too much about the Rinnegan. He has studied countless species, the Otsutsuki being one of them. So he knew everything about the Rinnegan and what it could do. As he held on to the eyes, before they broke apart in his hand, as he absorbed them, his starry eyes switched as he now possessed the Rinnegan. He then proceeded to flew back towards the village. Minato and the ninjas that saw him weren't able to say anything as he just flew past them. As Naruto arrived above the village, the fighting had come to a stop. The remaining Akatsuki members being put down. People were crying all over, as Mito was on her knees in front of Hinata. The girl was dead, taken down by an explosive. The left side of her chest had been gouged out. She had bled out and died. Many Konoha shinobis had fell to the attack. Many civilians had died. As Naruto's eyes started to pulsate, Mito looked up as she saw her brother above the village looking down at them. It was then that he slammed his hands together. The Rinnegan started to glow, before suddenly his body started to break apart. The ground then erupted as a massive beast erupted from it. It opened its mouth and several golden lights erupted from it. Sasuke and all that fell in the attack got hit by that light. Their bodies started to heal. Mito's eyes went wide as she saw the hole in Hinata's chest start to fill. Her body started to heal. As Tenten, who stood beside her, was shocked as well, not quite understanding what was going on. It was then that Hinata's eyes slowly started to open. The both of them gasped in shock. Sasuke picked himself up. What the hell? As he heard someone above him gasp as he looked up to see. "Itachi," he said. As the people started to return back to normal, the Naruto above them then burst into pure, raw energy before it fluttered away and rushed towards where the massive construction was. The people of the village were in shock as they looked towards the far distance to see something that was able to be visible from this site. If it was able to be seen from this area, how large was that thing? Meanwhile, as Naruto was on his feet, blood was rushing down from his arms. This guy was more stronger than he thought. Well, it begs to differ that most of his power was not with him at the moment, but still. As Madara was in his Susanoo, I must say, I wasn't expecting a child to give me such a good fight. But it's been a wonderful dance. In fact, you pushed me to use my perfect Susanoo. You should be honored to taste the blade of defeat. As Madara unsheathed said blade, the thing was massive. You think I'm just gonna lay down and die, said Naruto. Well, if you can stop this, then do as you might. As Madara brought down the blade, It was at that moment the power hit Naruto. The blade hit the ground, but the explosion was not as Madara expected because something held it back. As Naruto's eyes started to pulsate with power, as he felt his full power returning back to him. It was like a piece of himself was missing whenever he split like that. His other half felt the same way as well, because all of them were Naruto but just, they were split. As Naruto's grip around the blade started to tighten, you think you're the only one that can use the avatar? Well, you're wrong. Madara Uchiha stepped back as Naruto threw the blade, and then his power surged. Kabuto's eyes went wide in utter shock. Appearing behind him, the masked man appeared. What the hell is going on, he said, but Kabuto was unable to speak. Whatever it was, it towered over Madara Uchiha. As the vision started to become clear, it had 10 arms, 5 on each side. It was a mix between the tail beasts and something completely different. It had 12 massive tails behind it, but at each of the tails were a strange type of drill that was able to literally drill through villages. However, these drills were made from different energy sources: wind, fire, and several other energy. Ice. Some of them that Kabuto did not even know what the hell was that. A strange murky liquid that seemed to be a mix between acid and fire. Hot molten fire, like lava. He was just so confused. The head of the beast was of a fox, with 2 other heads on the side. One of them were showing pure rage and the other one was just so calm. Right in the epicenter of that was Naruto. The body was built like a muscular man. The arms wave, as a single wave was able to create deadly gusts that was shaking the entire area. Madara was astonished. For the first time in his life, since Hashirama, he has felt power that eclipsed his own by so far. As his Uchiha instinct was itching at him as he pulled his blade and swung it. However, the blade was caught and snapped. The thing then raised 4 arms and dropped it. Madara Uchiha was ripped apart and pummeled into the ground severely. It was bashed and torn. The masked man decided to flee out of there as Naruto's eyes looked down. He sucked himself away, leaving Kabuto. Kabuto turned as he started to move, but 3 hands came down as the last one squashed down on him. Kabuto squirmed as he slipped and turned into a snake, fleeing away, but he was grabbed and pulled up right in front of the thing as Naruto's eyes bore into his. Naruto then clasped his hands together as Kabuto screamed. Pop! His body seemed to pop like a grape as Naruto squashed him under his might. Madara's body was reforming. Naruto reached down and gripped him before he opened the mouth of the massive beast and swallowed Madara. Inside of the body, Naruto appeared in front of the man. Madara tried to move, but golden chains wrapped around both of his limbs as they captured him right there suspended. You, said Madara as he looked at Naruto. Alright, Naruto reached into his chest and tore out his soul before he could say anything else. As the body crumbled away, Naruto fell down to the ground. His massive avatar vanishing away. He dropped down to his knees. The amount of power that he exerted today, he was exhausted. As he sat there and catch his breath. It took the ninjas a while to arrive on the field. Well, not for his father. As he explained the events of what happened. Minato was proud of him. The people at the village was alright. Minato was confused though. Those that died was rising. As the others came out there, the place had been changed completely like. It was a different valley, just like the valley of the end. Just to show off Naruto's power. The Akatsuki has been crushed. Yujito rushed over towards Naruto as she saw that he was okay as usual. As she kissed him. They came through this chaos, and they were all still living thanks to him. As Naruto was happy to see her. His sister and his mother were still back at the village in the bunkers. At least they were safe. Well, everyone was. As Naruto's chakra started to recover. But it seems that the problem was not over yet. Ah, so we finally found you. Naruto froze at that voice. No, it can't be. A few ninjas first saw them as they wondered who the hell were these people. Beings that seemed to be angels, dressed in all white. They came from the heavens. It wasn't just Momoshiki or Kinshiki alone. Ozo was there, Akira was there, and a few others as well, as they stood at the back. As the group of shinobis were confused, who were these people? As Naruto got to his feet, his eyes did not focus on any of them though. He focused on one person in particular. None of the high slingers, none of the powerhouses. He didn't care about them. Akira, he said. Yujiro heard what he said. Naruto, what's going on? She said, confused by who these people were. As Minato stood by his side, Minma stepping forward. The group was confused. Seems like you found yourself a little family here. Isn't that right, Death? Said Momoshiki, as Naruto clenched his fists. Akira looked into his eyes, as she seemed to be full with regret and sadness. He did it. He finally had what he wanted. A family. People to love and to care about. And she smiled in happiness. I missed you, she said. Oh, isn't that sweet, said Ozo. I was the one that freed him, she said. Ozo turned his gaze towards her. I knew it, he said. I just couldn't prove it. How stupid of you though to tell me that. For everyone to hear. But she didn't seem to care. So Naruto is her new name, huh? It suits you. Akira, there's nothing that you need to say. No, she said. I will not let them do it to you a second time. I will not let them use my life as a bargaining chip. Momoshiki reached as he gripped her by the back of the throat. I will kindly suggest that you be quiet. You've just told that you were the one that freed this abomination. And for that alone you'll be severely punished. As he pushed her to the ground. Now, Death, he said as he saw that Naruto wanted to move. I suggest you hold your ground. Unless you want her to die. As Naruto paused, the Konoha ninjas were confused. What is going on here, said Minato. Be quiet, said Momoshiki. This doesn't involve any of you. But it doesn't matter, once I'm done here, I will suck this planet dry as well. Killing you all in the process. I just want to make sure you know that, Death. That is because of your defiance. I won't let you. Oh, really now? As he glanced down towards Akira. Akira glanced up. Naruto, she said. It's alright. Just like last time you suffered because of me. I felt the same way. Despite everything that we've been through for the past couple of centuries, which was a very long time, I felt the exact same way. But it seems like fate is just against us. We were never meant to be. But I can see that you have a good life now. And I wouldn't want to ruin that. So that is why. She started to cough. Ozo looked towards her. What have you done? She chuckled to herself. As she reached and pulled a small vial. Found it in your lab, she said. One of the most deadliest poisons, am I right? No, you stupid woman! Naruto rushed forward. As he grabbed Akira, she dropped in his arms. What? Why would you do this? He said. I know. We just reunited, but as I said, I will not be used to make you suffer again. I've thought about this long and hard. And it's alright. Live your life. Be happy. I've caused you enough pain. No, you haven't, said Naruto, tears in his eyes. You're the one that teach me how to live. Momoshiki reached down, but Naruto looked up towards them and the Otsutsuki were blown away. The force was so unbearable that their bodies were shot like bullets as they crashed away. The amount of rage that he was feeling right now was nothing normal. I see that you're stronger than ever, said Akira. As she started to cough even more, blood came from her mouth. Know this. I'll always love you. She glanced towards Yujito. As she could already see it, the concern in the woman's eyes, she focused on her. Take care of him. He's been through a lot. And don't you dare hurt him, she said. Yujito was confused by all of this. But she nodded. She didn't know why, but she nodded. As Naruto wept silently. See? Time and time again I told you that you're not a monster. Because monsters don't cry. As she died in his arms after saying those final words. As Naruto slowly got back to his feet, with her body in hand, he walked towards Minato, confused by his son's action. Take her, he said. Minato was confused. But he did so though. Naruto said, Menma, what's going on? I'll explain everything later. To all of you, he said. But for now. As Naruto turned his gaze when he saw all the Otsutsuki got to their feet. Meanwhile, Ozo was pissed off his plan failed. Big time because of that stupid woman. Momoshiki looked behind him. Momoshiki was brash, arrogant, but even he knew the power of death. That is what he feared. As Naruto disappeared, and appeared between the Konoha shinobis and the opposing force. Years I've been here, enjoying my life, enjoying the people I come to know and you people. You come here and you manage to destroy my heart. Once again by letting me watch someone I love die. That was the only reason why I refrained from coming to you people. And she knew that as well. She was the one that taught me how to live. How to not be a monster. The very thing that you created me to be. And now you have nothing, said Naruto. You vile, pathetic dog, said Momoshiki. You think you alone will be enough? It seems you don't understand what is going on. The power that I was bestowed upon all those years ago has been increased with time and time and time again. Allowing me to come to this planet, allowing me to be trapped away, was the most stupidest thing you have ever done. You allowed me to foster hate. So much hate for you that I couldn't wait till the day I would rip your head off your shoulders. Most of you had nothing to do with my birth. Most of you didn't even know what I was capable of. You stay away because you know. The rumors were true though, but you never seen with your eyes. And now, I suggest you stay away. Unless you want to fall just like him, because I will not just remain here. I'm going right back to where I was created. Yes, right back to home. And this time, I'm gonna kill all of the elders. All of the top heads. And if you don't want to die, I suggest you lay down your arms right now and go back home. Warn your families to not stay in my way. Otherwise, they will all die. You fool, you think they will listen to you, said Momoshiki. You might have gotten stronger, but BAM! Momoshiki was cut off as Naruto slapped him right in his face. He just appeared instantaneously and slapped him across the face. The others behind him cowered in fear as Naruto lashed out and grabbed the doctor. In a way I guess I should call you father. Isn't that right, said Naruto. Don't do this. I can help you, Ozo said. You help me. You were the one that locked me away, said Naruto. And now you have no idea what I can do. No idea what I'm capable of. You created me to be unstoppable. To be something that could never be destroyed. To be a god. Something that you could never achieve. Because you thought forever I would remain your puppet. A pawn in your schemes, but no more. As Naruto tightened his hold on his throat. And started to squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. Until a light. King Shiki though created one of his axes. The red axe and brought it down. The moment it made contact with Naruto's neck, it broke. As Naruto's eyes turned towards him and shoved his hand cleanly through his chest. As King Shiki looked down in shock. It was then that Momoshiki came back. His veil torn, anger on his face. The doctor and King Shiki was dead. As Naruto rushed and gripped Momoshiki's face before he blew off. The remaining Otsutsuki stood there as Naruto flew straight out into space. He was gone. Yurishiki chuckled to himself. Well, this is gonna be a grand show, he says. He took off as well. The others fleeing back home. Yujito screamed out Naruto's name as she watched him flow away. Time skip. A few days later. It has been a few days since Naruto had just vanished. No one knew where he went or what was going on, as everyone was in a sad mood. Katsumi could not find her big brother, as everyone told her that he would be arriving back soon, but although she could not see him yet, as Kushina wondered what the hell was going on, Minato explained everything to her, everything that happened, which didn't really make any sense. Yujito would not believe that Naruto was dead. He was of course not dead, he would be coming back. Of course he would be coming back. A few days after they attacked the village, while still trying to recover, when suddenly something dropped from the sky. A meteor. It slammed into the Fire Nation. Right into the woods, decimating countless trees. The ninjas were on high alert rather quickly. As they made their way out there, the Anvus that were in the forest arrived. When the smoke cleared, their eyes went wide. Wait, isn't that? A few hours later, Kushina and Yujito rushed towards the hospital. Minato went too as well. Menma and Mito was given a call as well to come to the hospital rather quickly. Once they arrived, there he was. His body was battered and burned. He was healing slowly, but he was unconscious. But he was alive. Tears started to run like waterfall. He was here, he was alive. A week later, just like when he had first been born, and when he had fought in the finals, he was unconscious for a whole week. Naruto slowly opened his eyes. As he glanced around the room, he made it back. He had went straight back home, after taking Momoshika off planet, knowing that the man would do anything to make sure that he would suffer. He knew the others would not dare harm or ear on anyone on the Elemental Nation, otherwise they would conquer his wrath. They already saw what he did to the Duck and Kinshiki, who was vastly more powerful than them. As Naruto had proceeded to rip Momoshiki apart, finally having his revenge, he had then assaulted the planet. He had dropped like a literal meteor inside of the planet. He went straight for the high heads. Finally, they had nothing to restrain him. They had no one to hold over his head, so when he came in, he was like literal death itself, as he tapped back into his primal urges, what he was known for. The ones that did not seek his wrath had to leave planet immediately because Naruto caused a series of explosions that led into a cataclysmic explosion that caused chain reactions that led into the planet being wiped off the map completely. The explosion, he had been caught up in it, and it was not anything normal. He had proceeded to flew back, but he was badly injured afterwards. But he did arrive home. The door opened up, as Yujito was coming in to be at his side as she usually did, waiting for the day that he would. Her eyes went wide. As Naruto smiled at her, she quickly enveloped him in a hug, rather tightly. A few minutes later, the people were called into the room. Everyone was worried about him, as they wondered what the hell was going on, as Naruto knew that it was time to tell them. He just hoped they would understand why he had to keep it away from them for so long. But he was still their son, brother, older brother, and soon-to-be husband. "Alright," said Naruto. "There's a lot that you all must know. It's over now, but still, you all deserve the truth. I know I was gone for a long time, but father, what did you do with the body?" he said. "We had to have it buried," said Minato. "Whoever that person was, she seemed important to you." "That's correct, isn't it?" "Yeah. Thanks," said Naruto. "I'll explain everything to you guys, so you guys can finally understand." Before he could though, the room warped, as someone appeared inside, wearing a cloak. What the hell? Naruto was about to jump up until the person shot something towards his head. It wasn't an attack, as the person vanished instantly. Naruto held his head and groaned. "What the hell was that?" said Menma, having no idea what the hell just happened. As they looked around, "Are you okay?" Yujito asked. Whatever it was, it went right through her and hit him, as she had stood right in the path. "I'm alright," said Naruto. "These memories, they're not mine." "What's going on?" asked Minato. "Who the hell is Anime King? And who the hell is Mage Naruto?" Naruto said. As Naruto paused and glanced up. "Wait, what? A story? A revolution?" Everything going in his head so quickly. "Wait, what's going on?" said Kushina. "What was that?" "Memories. From someone called Mage Naruto. My life, all of our life has been written by Anime King." As Naruto glanced up to the heavens. But guys, in the end episode right here, once again that bastard managed to escape. He's on the run now, knowing that I'm in the process of hunting him down, to ripping him apart. It seems I'm gonna have to take more drastic measures, like stepping into the world of Naruto itself to kill him. That is the only way I see that I can get my hands on Mage Naruto right now. But it doesn't matter, it seems. I'll have to step into the world of fiction and make the reality very very soon, to end this life once and for all. No longer will he try to destroy my stories. I will erase him, just like I'm ending this story, and he will not be able to stop me. And yes guys, I really hope that you guys enjoy this, and you are know to stick around. I'm going to be dropping new episodes soon for you guys to enjoy. And yeah, I'm out, see you guys soon, peace.